Hi folks, so in this short video I want to talk a little bit about English 110 for the spring-summer semester. So English 110, our theme is war literature and more specifically military masculinities. So we're going to take a look at a couple of different examples of poetry, short stories, novels, films, that all relate to this topic of gender, in this case masculinity, and the military system. So men at war, or men in the military, is kind of our main theme here. So just a little bit of other info here. So this class runs May 3rd to June 19th. So that's our last sort of scheduled class time. Our final exam's on the 22nd to the 24th, so it's going to be a take-home exam. My name is Justine Jenny. You can just call me Justine, that's fine. Or Professor Jenny or Instructor Jenny, whichever one you're comfortable doing. The best way to get a hold of me is probably email, so you can use the course homepage or email me through the UR Regina email. Both of those would be fine. Our course time, so this is a asynchronous class, which just means that there are no set specific times where you have to log in. All of the lectures have been pre-recorded, so it's up to you to sort of log in, watch the videos, add to the discussion forum, that kind of thing, and really schedule and manage your time according to, your own schedule. So there is no mandatory times where you have to log in, but my recommendation, because this is a spring-summer class and it's very intense, it's a good idea to, do either daily logins or, multiple times per week. Just check in and see that you're on task and you know what's coming up. I'll also email every week at the beginning of the week, just to let you know what's happening this week, what's due, what are your responsibilities, that kind of thing. So we'll also be going through, or I'll also be sort of sending you emails that way and staying in touch. Technical requirements, so you'll need a computer, a laptop, stable internet connection. So just the basic thing, you're submitting all your papers through Turnitin, which is the online submission through the course homepage. So that'll be a necessity that you need a laptop or computer access. I'll hold office hours, which is basically just like a live chat on Wednesdays from 6 to 7. So if you have any questions, you can log into the office hours and ask me a question via the chat room. The other way is just, email me, or we can make a one-on-one meeting through Zoom, which is, I think, probably the best way to really get more face-to-face feedback on your essays or assignments, that kind of thing. So feel free to, email me and book an appointment, and we can meet through the Zoom and discuss what's going on. So this course texts, I've sort of divided the course up into units, and it's a little different from previous versions of this course. For spring summer, I'm kind of rearranging things a little bit than how I've done it previously, just because I want to give you a little bit more time to get the novel read, whichever one you pick. So unit 1, basically, it's just introducing you to the topics of war literature or war narrative and some of the key ideas around the theme of the course. We'll also sort of overview of some gender concepts, gender key terms, and you'll be assigned the documentary Jackson Katz's Tough Guys 2, and that'll be on the course homepage, so you can watch that within that first couple of or that first week of classes. Unit 2 is all about poetry and propaganda. So we'll take a look at some selected war poetry that will be on the course homepage. We'll take a look at some examples of war propaganda, posters and whatnot, imagery that's been used to promote the military or promote war. So we'll take a couple looks at poetry and propaganda posters for Unit 2. Unit 3 is all about war films. So you're going to write a sort of film review or film analysis based on either Stanley Kubrick's Full Metal Jacket or Kirby Dick's documentary, The Invisible War. So if you're somebody who maybe likes more fictional texts, you might gravitate towards Stanley Kubrick's film. And if you're more, into documentaries, The Invisible War, both of them have, content that could be offensive or triggering for some people. So just be aware, maybe do a little Google search just to make sure that you're aware of what the subject matter is of these texts, films, before you watch them, and pick one. So you don't have to do both. You can just pick one is fine. And in Unit 4 is our last unit, and it's a war novel, or a longer read, I'll say, because some of them are sort of collections of short stories or a graphic novel in 2 parts. But I've given you a little bit more time. Again, we have only 6 weeks for this class, so it is going to be quick, go by very quickly. But, pick one, I would say, of the longer books to concentrate on for the class, just because our timeline is so, short. So either pick Tim O'Brien's The Things They Carried, and that one is a collection of short stories. So you could pick multiple short stories from it. You don't necessarily have to talk about it, all of it. You could pick and choose which ones you discuss. Royce Granton's novel War Porn is another option, and that one's a more modern one, which students might respond to because, it's dealing with, more modern, contemporary settings, and talking about quite, recent war in the Middle East. So it gives a little bit of a different, more modern setting. And the third option is Timothy Finley's The Wars, which is all about the World War I. And it gives a kind of Canadian soldier's perspective of World War I, which is kind of interesting as well. Another option is Chang Rae Lee's novel Adjust Your Life. And this one's maybe the most difficult to read, but possibly the most interesting topic that a lot of people maybe don't know a lot about, which is the history of comfort women. As part of the Pacific War arena in World War II, Japan had sort of imperial interests in other Asian nations, and they took forced women from other Asian countries to serve as comfort women, which is just sort of the euphemism for women who are forced into sexual slavery. So that's the context kind of for Adjust Your Life. It's told from a veteran Japanese soldier who's ethnically actually Korean, and his ethnicity as a Korean/Japanese man kind of gives him more insight or empathy with the women that were exploited and brutalized during the war. So it's sort of his PTSD, how he deals with his relationship with the past and the woman that he fell in love with during the war. And then the last option is Art Spiegelman's graphic novel, Tex Maus, or Maus. I don't know how you say that in maybe German, but it's a Holocaust novel or novel series. There's 2 volumes, and it's a graphic novel, so it uses animal allegory in it, which is kind of interesting as well. So Jewish people are depicted as mice, and Nazi Germans are depicted as cats. So we have this sort of animal allegory laid on top of this historical tragedy and trauma. So again, pick one of these to focus on for this term, and and give yourself some time to start reading that as soon as possible, I would say. These other, the film you can watch in 2 hours. The poetry, again, you could read in an afternoon, but it's the novel that's really, the invested time investment for this class. So other things. So yes, you are responsible for handing in 3 essay assignments. So essays 1 through 3 and the final exam. All of these things are mandatory. So if you miss handing in essay number 2, you can't pass the class, basically. So you need to submit all of these mandatory components to pass the class. If you fail one of the major assignments 1 through 3, you do get a second chance to resubmit it. So I'll let you know that, you didn't pass this assignment and you have, maybe 2 weeks to submit the new resubmission. So you have to, again, make sure that you're doing your best to keep up on all of your assignments. Any cases of suspected academic misconduct will be forwarded to the Academic Advisory Committee. So my advice, don't use apps. We have AI detectors now at the university. So if you've used, ChatGPT or another kind of app to write your paper for you, again, it's going to be detected once you submit it through Turnitin. So use your own ideas, cite responsibly. The essays are a reflection of your thoughts, your views. You're the author, so it's sort of your ethical duty to only include facts, the truth in your papers. You need to stand behind what you submit. I think of an essay as the equivalent of if I was doing a science experiment. I can't fake the results of a science experiment, right? I need to stand behind the results and use only the most ethical diligence when I'm reporting on my science and data. So an essay is the same thing. You need to sort of take responsibility and ethical consideration in putting forth your ideas or somebody else's ideas, acknowledging whose ideas you're citing or putting in your paper. So all of that is something to be considered when you're writing your paper, your essay. Our due dates. So our first assignment will be due Sunday, May 14th. It's worth 15%. Our second assignment is due May 28th. It's worth 20%. And then our final essay is due June 11th, and it's worth 25%. You also have a discussion forum that's due on Wednesdays, and these are worth 5 marks each, so a total of 15 marks. And, if you missed a forum, it's not the end of the world. They're not mandatory, but you're, losing 5 marks. So you want to make sure that you are adding something to the forum, just even if to get part marks, to do well in the class. So make sure you're adding to the forum and doing your assignments, and you complete your final exam, and you should do well in this class. So there's no reason for you to fail the class if you make every effort that you can to submit things and participate. Okay, so there's a little bit of information here about each assignment, but the real instructions are on the course homepage. That's where I give you the actual topics that you'll write about. For each of the assignments, I'll give you options, essay options, and you can choose one of them. So all of that is on the course homepage. This is just basic overview information and doesn't really give you much evidence or idea of what the actual instructions are. Other than that, yeah, you can take a look at the syllabus. Make sure you note any important dates in your calendars and plan ahead. For extensions, I do give extensions if you need one. So if you need more than one, in reality, I'll give you it if you need it. So if something's due on May 14th and you need a couple of extra days, just email me, send me a message, say, Justine, can I please have an extension of 2 days? Or can I please have an extension until next Sunday? And I'll give you that without, more information. I don't need your doctor's note or anything. I'll just give you an extension if you ask for it. So yeah, make sure that you're asking for the extension if you need the extra time. I'm a very understanding person, so I know we have busy lives and 6 weeks is not a lot of time. So, if you do need an extra couple days, feel free to ask for that. Okay, and then, other than that, let's enjoy the class. I hope you enjoy the class and participate in the discussion forums. Email me if you have any questions. If you want to set up a Zoom one-on-one, that's fine as well. And I'll be in touch with my frequent emails. So make sure that you're checking your email quite often and looking on the course homepage regularly, because all my emails will sort of be through the course homepage as well. So you'll get noticed if I send something out. But other than that, I hope you enjoyed the class.